We continue our opponent previews, this time spotlighting the first game in November for Indiana State. It will be a home contest at Memorial Stadium. South Dakota will head back to Terre Haute after we were in the Dakota Dome a year ago in Vermillion, South Dakota. Now Indiana State will welcome in the Coyotes. Good news is Chris Streveler's not coming with them. I'm pretty sure everybody throughout the valley is glad Chris Streveler's career is done at South Dakota. We welcome in the voice of the South Dakota Coyotes, Joe Van Gore. Joe, I know we're happy to see Chris Streveler go. I'm sure the Coyote fans aren't, but I'm sure there's still high optimism for what this program can continue to build off of and what Coach Nielsen has been able to bring.
Well, yeah, you're right. And Luke, thanks for the time. Chris Streveler now, well, he is now a part of Coyote football lore that won't soon be forgotten, as he had an amazing 2 years playing up in Canada for Winnipeg. Have certainly enjoyed watching him play. But as the Coyotes transition into 2018 without Chris Streveler, I don't think you're going to see much of a drop-off at quarterback. Austin Simmons, now a redshirt junior from Council Bluffs, Iowa, has been patiently waiting. But it's not like he comes in completely untested. He is 3-0 as a starter. And if you're trying to make comparisons with Chris Streveler and Austin Simmons, and this is my opinion now, I think Austin probably has the stronger arm than Chris Streveler did. Of course, Chris did a lot of things with his feet, as you well know. But Austin Simmons gives the Coyotes that deep threat that, I was there sometimes with Chris Streveler over the last 2 years, but definitely going into this year, I think Austin is pretty comfortable with the offense. He's got a bunch of talented receivers to throw to, and also Austin, maybe he's not the runner that Chris Streveler was, but he's got some talented running backs to help him out in that area.
Knowing, of course, I jokingly was talking about Chris Streveler and glad he's not coming back. He got a lot of the attention a year ago, but it wasn't just Chris Streveler either. That was a darn good offense that the Coyotes had. There was a reason why it was one of the top 5, I think, offenses in the country when you look at statistically a year ago. Knowing that Streveler's out of the picture, what do you like about the pieces coming back? I know Van Rukel will be gone too, who was a main target for Chris Streveler, but it still seems like that stockpile is stocked pretty deep with a lot of talented guys.
Well, we talk about the receiver core that Austin Simmons will get to throw to. Shamar Jackson, a senior wide receiver. He had some big games for the Coyotes last year. And, you can just go up and down the roster as far as wide receivers. Cody Case comes back as a sophomore. He was kind of the target early. Tristan Ducker, a junior, is also back in the fold. I don't know if you've seen it, but in the Coyotes spring game, Dakari Allen, a junior, made a one-handed catch, the Odell Beckham Jr. Type of catch that made ESPN's top play that particular day. And also there's some others that have been waiting their turn as well. But the receiver core for South Dakota, I think, is about as solid as anybody's in the Valley. And then talking about the running back spot, Mike Frederick comes back for his senior year. He'll be complemented by Kai Henry and also a couple others that were in the mix last year as well. But, as you know, Luke, nothing starts unless you have a good offensive line, and the Coyotes have a very veteran offensive line coming back, which, kind of leads me back to what I said in the beginning, is that don't think there will be much drop-off for the Coyotes on offense this year.
And, of course, that's kind of where a lot of coaches look to as well. I know Coach Mallory, one of the first things he always looks at his opponent, looks at how experienced they are up front on the offensive side and up front on the defensive side. And all I got to say is Darren Greenfield, and I think everybody knows that name now and what he did a year ago in terms of helping that South Dakota defense be one of the best overall in terms of sacks and tackles for loss. What about the others that can help add to Darren Greenfield and what he did a year ago, and why that can be a defense that, yes, South Dakota, the Coyotes, maybe making a lot of noise offensively still with a new quarterback and some new pieces, but don't overlook what they have on the defensive side of the ball either.
No, there's definitely some great talent coming back on defense, on the line, linebackers, and on the back line with the corners and the DBs. And of course, you started with Darren Greenfield, and I don't think people really realize he was a walk-on at South Dakota and quickly earned a scholarship. But other guys on the defensive line, Cameron Klein, who has started since he was a freshman, he's back on the defensive line. Nathan Schultz was a true freshman, last year before he went out with injury, and certainly the coaching staff hoping he can be back to the full speed as well. So, and others that filled in on the defensive line. What seems to be kind of a pattern, and it's sometimes a good news, bad news type of thing. The Coyotes have had some significant injuries to starters, and also that led to younger players playing, and that was certainly true of the defense last year. But going to the linebacker spot, Alex Coker, Alex Gray are back as seniors. They should anchor that the linebacker spot. Also, Andrew Gray as a defensive back will certainly be counted on for leadership as the safeties. Mike Johnson, also Elijah Reed. I mean, there's a couple others as well that will be in the mix as well. But as you know as well, Luke, depth is always the issue, and so hopefully the Coyotes can stay healthy while they're trying to develop younger players to back up on defense.
And no doubt it will be an entertaining Saturday. November 3rd is when South Dakota will make their trip to Terre Haute to visit us at Memorial Stadium. Joe Van Gore has been our guest, the voice of the South Dakota Coyotes. Joe, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Excited that it's finally football time and get to talk to you again. Look forward to you guys making that trip to Terre Haute later in November.
All right, sounds good, Luke. Again, thanks for the time.